In the latter half of the 16th century, the Ottoman Empire, under the leadership of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent and his successors, continued its expansion into Central Europe, bringing fear and uncertainty to the kingdoms of Hungary and the surrounding regions. One of the most dramatic episodes of resistance against Ottoman incursions occurred at Eger Castle in 1552, where Captain Istvan Dobó and his garrison faced an overwhelmingly superior force of Ottoman soldiers. Despite facing impossible odds, Dobó's leadership, strategic planning, and the determination of his men turned the siege into one of the most celebrated defensive actions in Hungarian history. Eger, a fortress town located in northern Hungary, held strategic importance for both the Hungarian defenders and the advancing Ottoman army. Its position on elevated terrain, surrounded by hills and rivers, made it a formidable defensive site. For the Ottomans, capturing Eger meant securing a gateway into central Hungary and demonstrating the empire's dominance over the region. For the Hungarians, holding the castle was vital to slowing Ottoman expansion and protecting the local population. In the spring of 1552, these opposing imperatives set the stage for a dramatic confrontation. At the outset, the situation appeared dire for the defenders. Captain Istvan Dobó commanded only 2,000 soldiers, including regular troops, local militia, and volunteers, while the approaching Ottoman force numbered approximately 40,000 soldiers. Supported by heavy artillery and experienced siege engineers, the garrison faced shortages in supplies, ammunition, and manpower. Many historians note that the psychological impact of seeing such a massive enemy force approaching could have undermined the resolve of any commander. Yet Dobó's leadership would prove crucial in galvanizing his men and organizing the castle's defenses. Dobó's first strategic decision was to maximize the natural and constructed defenses of Eger Castle. The castle's walls were reinforced, gates were secured, and key vantage points were prepared for archers and gunners. Dobó understood that the Ottomans would rely heavily on artillery to breach the walls, so he organized countermeasures, including fire-resistant barricades, trenches, and positions that allowed defenders to target siege weapons effectively. The terrain itself, elevated positions overlooking the surrounding plains, provided an advantage that Dobó and his men leveraged throughout the siege. When the Ottoman forces arrived, their first approach involved extensive bombardment of the castle walls. Cannons, mortars, and siege engines rained fire upon Eger, attempting to break through the fortifications. The defenders, though vastly outnumbered, responded with remarkable resilience. Dobó coordinated counter-battery fire and directed his troops to repair breaches quickly, ensuring that the integrity of the walls held. Soldiers and volunteers worked tirelessly, often under fire, to maintain the defensive line and prevent the Ottomans from gaining a foothold. The Ottoman strategy included repeated assaults, often targeting specific sections of the wall with infantry charges and scaling ladders. Each wave of attackers was met with fierce resistance. Hungarian soldiers poured boiling oil, stones, and arrows upon the advancing troops. The castle's artillery, though limited in number, was positioned strategically to inflict maximum damage, forcing the Ottomans to reconsider their approach. The defenders' ability to repel successive attacks, despite being outnumbered 20-fold, became a defining feature of the siege. Dobó also relied on psychological tactics to boost morale and maintain cohesion among his men. He frequently inspected the walls, encouraged soldiers, and reminded them of the significance of their defense, not only for the kingdom, but also for the local population. This leadership inspired confidence, fostering a sense of unity and determination that compensated for the numerical disadvantage. Civilians within the castle, including women and children, also contributed by assisting in repairs, carrying ammunition, and providing support to the soldiers. Their participation created a communal spirit that further strengthened the defenders' resolve. Another key aspect of the defense was resource management. With limited supplies of food, water, and gunpowder, Dobó implemented strict rationing and ensured that ammunition was used efficiently. Every cannon shot and every arrow had to count, emphasizing the importance of discipline and tactical precision. Dobó's foresight in managing scarce resources allowed the defenders to sustain a prolonged resistance against an enemy with overwhelming numbers and superior firepower. As the siege continued, the Ottoman forces attempted to undermine the walls, using tunnels and explosives, a common siege tactic of the time. Dobó anticipated these maneuvers and dispatched small teams of soldiers to detect and neutralize the tunnels before significant damage could occur. This proactive approach further frustrated the attackers and demonstrated the defenders' ability to adapt to evolving threats. Despite repeated attacks and relentless bombardment, Eger Castle held firm for weeks. Marking a turning point in the defense, the Ottoman forces, unable to breach the walls or break the spirit of the defenders, began to suffer from fatigue, logistical difficulties, and declining morale. Dobó's leadership, strategic planning, and the resilience of the garrison had effectively neutralized the numerical superiority of the enemy. By maintaining discipline, utilizing the terrain, and employing innovative defensive strategies, the defenders transformed an apparent catastrophe into a historic victory. The final phase of the siege saw the Ottomans launch their most concentrated assault, seeking to overwhelm the castle once and for all. However, Dobó's troops, anticipating the attack, were prepared with reinforced barricades, well-placed artillery, and coordinated defense strategies. The assault failed, and the Ottomans were forced to retreat, marking one of the most celebrated defensive victories in Hungarian history. Eger's successful defense delayed Ottoman expansion in northern Hungary and became a symbol of national pride and resilience. The silent legacy of Captain Istvan Dobó and the defenders of Eger extends far beyond the battlefield. Their ability to withstand overwhelming odds became a testament to courage, leadership, and strategic ingenuity. The siege is remembered not only for the military achievement, but also for the broader implications for resistance against Ottoman expansion in Europe. Dobó's leadership exemplified the critical importance of preparation, morale, and adaptation in defensive warfare, demonstrating that even a vastly outnumbered force could achieve victory through skill and determination. Historians note that the Siege of Eger influenced military thinking in Europe, highlighting the effectiveness of well-fortified positions, integrated civilian support, and disciplined command structures. The victory inspired other regions to fortify key positions and resist Ottoman advances, shaping the geopolitical dynamics of Central Europe for decades. Additionally, the story of Eger became an enduring cultural symbol, celebrated in literature, art, and public memory, as a defining moment of heroism and national identity. In conclusion, the defense of Eger Castle under Captain Istvan Dobó stands as a remarkable episode in the history of Ottoman European encounters, confronted with 40,000 Ottoman soldiers. Dobó's 2,000 defenders utilized terrain, fortifications, strategic foresight, and unyielding morale to achieve the impossible. The siege demonstrated that leadership, discipline, and ingenuity could counterbalance overwhelming numerical superiority. Beyond the military significance, Eger became a symbol of resistance, perseverance, and the enduring spirit of those defending their homeland against a formidable empire. The Siege of Eger remains a defining example of heroism in the face of impossible odds, illustrating how determination, leadership, and strategy can triumph over brute force. Captain Istvan Dobó and his garrison exemplify the timeless principle that courage and ingenuity can preserve freedom and shape the course of history, even when faced with the might of one of the world's most powerful empires.